Hey guys, on today's video I'm going to be showing you how to change your coolant or your Dex Cool out of your 2016 Isuzu NPR. I'm showing you, I have the cab up right now, I'm just showing you for reference the lower coolant hose that goes from the thermostat all the way down to the bottom of the radiator. We've got our radiator cap here and we've got our overflow tank here. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to do that. To do this job, you do need to use the Dex Cool for most modern Isuzus. And just excuse me, just so you know, this is the 6-liter L96 GM engine that's in most of these. Probably if you've got the diesel engine, this is not going to apply. But I'm going to go under, I'm going to get the camera set up, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this the easy way. I almost forgot. If you don't have a regular drain pan, you can go to Walmart and get one of these turkey basters. These hold quite a bit of fluid. It'll be plenty for this job. I've got a little hook because the hose is probably going to be a little difficult to get off, and I have some channel locks or pliers to get the spring clamp off. Alright, so I don't even have this. This is just sitting on the ground. You don't even have to jack this up. So I've got my drip pan right under here, or drain pan I should say, and this is the spring clamp you want to remove. So I'm going to move this pan out just a minute, and I'm going to take, whoops, this is going to come out faster than I thought. So just compress it and move it out of the way. And then this is going to come out pretty good torrent. And you notice I do not have the radiator cap removed. I don't want this to come out any faster than this right now. That's why I do not have it removed. All right. Alright, so I'm going to go up top and open the radiator cap, and you'll see the coolant increase just a little bit. Or maybe not. Alright, so I'm going to let this drip until it stops dripping. And while that's doing that, you do have coolant in here. And the way to get this out is you can siphon it out. Or you can remove there's a hose right here. Do you see this? It's got a little spring clamp. You can put another little tube on there and put it down in the drain pan. So I'll do it one of those two ways and then let you know which way I did it. Alright, so I just took the overflow hose loose from the top of the radiator, and I've got my Mighty Mite. I'm just going to put a little bit of vacuum on it and then just do it like that. That's going to be the easiest way. If you don't have one of these, you can take this hose, put it all the way up, start pouring some water in there, and once the hose fills up, put it down in your drain plug, and the siphoning effect will completely empty that reservoir. Alright, so I just thought about this. If you don't have one of these Mighty Mite suction devices, but you do have a garden hose, right? So this is empty, there's no coolant in here. I've already flushed this out several times, but I'm going to show you how, if you'll just disconnect the hose, right? And all I'm going to do is put water pressure in here. And that will do the same thing. And that's if there's any type of scale or sludge in here, which mine didn't have. But just pressurize it with the garden hose, because you do want this reservoir clean. And this is just clean water right here. So I'm going to show you the coolant. It's in really, really good shape. Now this is DexCool. This is what's supposed to go in this engine. And I do know that people will say, well, all you did was drain the radiator, the coolant bottle, and you didn't drain the coolant that's in the engine, which is correct. This is called a drain and fill. There's the thermostat housing right here. There is some coolant in the engine block, and there are 2 drain bolts on the side of each engine block. But if you do this regularly and your coolant is in good shape, and you can see inside the radiator there's absolutely no scale or sludge, it's perfectly acceptable to do it this way. If you want to just flush out, if you've got a problem, somebody may have put the wrong coolant in there, or it hadn't been done in a really, really long time, then you would need to drain the block. And this is a 6-liter engine, and I'm not sure exactly the drain bolts there's one on each side. They're not easy to get to or show, but it is possible to do it that way. You could also take this loose right here, the top radiator hose, and you could apply some pressure with your air, shop air if you have it, and force more coolant out. But I'm not going to do that. Whatever's in there is in there, and this is probably 75% of the capacity what we got out that's in the radiator. So it will constantly renew itself if you do this frequently and on schedule. I would say, because coolant is so relatively cheap, to do this every couple of years and not wait 5 years. I don't know when this was done last. I do know it has been done, because that is a lot nicer coolant than what you would normally see. This truck has 104,000 miles, and I bought it when it had 94,000, so it may have been done in the 50s. I don't know. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hose here, I'm just going to put this back through. There's a couple of like looms that goes through, and try to do this one-handed. Well, anyway, you get the idea. And there's a couple of clips that go here to hold the hose steady. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll go back under the truck. All right, so when there's pretty much no trickle, I'm going to slide the lower hose back onto the radiator. I'm going to slide the pan out of the way. Now make sure that you take the used coolant someplace where it's recyclable. And I'm going to take the clamp, slide it back. Now I'm going to put it in the exact same orientation as it was when I took it off. There we go. All right. All right, so next I'm going to show you how to fill it and get all the air out. All right, so I'm going to use this spill-proof funnel, and it's got a variety of adapters for different radiator cap styles. And I'm going to show you which one I'm going to use and how it goes on the radiator, and it will prevent any coolant overflows when the engine starts running. All right, so I picked an appropriate size cap. Here's the radiator cap. This is the same one as on the Toyota Tundra. That's pretty funny. And this right here will fit inside the radiator neck, and then this will go over the top, and it'll go be secured, and then you can stick the funnel on it. And let's do that next. All right, so I'm just going to put that down, make sure the gasket side is down. I'm gonna put this like this, and then put that on just like that. So this is just as tight as the radiator cap would be. All right, so I took the little stopper in the middle out. I'm just gonna put this, I'm gonna press down, and it has a nice tight fit. So when the engine's running and the coolant starts to expand in here, it will not overflow, and it will not leak right here either. All right, so as I said before, this uses DexCool. Make sure, I got this at Walmart. This is, make sure it says DexCool GM approved. You don't have to use Prestone. You can use the AC Delco version. You can use, I think Peak has a version, but depending on where you go, this right here is the concentrate, right? So I'm gonna make a 50% solution. So this is enough for 2 gallons because I'm going to use distilled water at a 50-50 ratio. And make sure if you use the ready to use, it says ready to use, you just pour the coolant into the vehicle as is. Do not add water. This is only for water. And just so that you know, this is like 15 bucks for a gallon. The ready to use is like 12. So this makes 2 gallons for $15. Well, this is like $1. So 16 bucks to make 2 gallons. And if you use the ready to use, you're gonna spend about 24 bucks. All right, so this is my 50-50 mixture, and I'm just gonna pour it right in. Notice there's no leaking or spilling at all. All right, so you don't have to watch me pour all this in there. I'll come back when it's full. All right, when you get to this point, see the radiator's completely full. There's a little bit in the neck. I'm gonna crank this up and we'll let it warm up. Alright, so all the air is out of the system now. I let it run, the thermostat opened, there was some bubbles that come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit here, and as this system cools, it will draw the coolant back in there. Now if I needed to take this off right now, all I would have to do is take the plunger, I'm going to call it a plug, stick it all the way down in there. I could take the radiator cap loose and then pull it this entire assembly off, and the funnel will keep all the coolant that's in here right now in the funnel. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let it draw back in there. Let's go on the other side and look at the coolant bottle. All right, so I put about halfway up between minimum and maximum, and there's no pressure on the system because this is still open. If I had the radiator cap, the factory one, on there, there would be pressure, there would be air in there and all that. That's why this funnel is super helpful in getting air out of the system, because it just bubbles up and it's not going to spill everywhere. Traditionally, you would have filled the radiator up, and then as the coolant expands from the engine warming up, some would bubble out and it would make a mess. This is the best. I'm going to put a link in the Amazon for this. This is it's phenomenal. You can use it on a variety of different vehicles. They have all kinds of adapters, as you saw. So I'm going to just let this sit here. I've got to go run a few errands. I'm going to go recycle the coolant. We'll come back when it's cool and we'll see how far the level dropped, and I'll show you how to take the funnel off the radiator so that you don't spill anything. All right, so let's see what's happened. This is cooled off pretty good. And there's a little bit of coolant in there, but I'm going to show you how to use the stopper to put in there, and then we'll remove this. All right, so I'm just going to take our plunger or stopper, just put it right in there like that, and then I'll release this, and the whole thing comes out just like that. And the level of the coolant is right at the bottom of the cap there, or where the cap would go. I'm going to take the radiator cap and put it back on just like that. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and run the engine again, get it up to operating temperature. I've got my coolant in the reservoir over there, so I'll run it up to operating temperature, let the thermostat open again, and then we'll shut it down. And any remaining coolant that the engine needs, since it's now under pressure, it'll be able to draw it out of the coolant reservoir on the other side. All right, so we're at 191 degrees, which is way past the opening for the thermostat. So what's next? Wow, that's no good there, that lighting. So what's next is that I'm just going to let the truck cool off completely, probably overnight. I'm going to keep an eye on the overflow bottle, and whatever coolant it's lacking, the level in the overflow bottle as the engine cools and the coolant contracts, it'll go get drawn back into the engine, and then I'll just do any additional refills I need to do on the overflow bottle. Now, I'll have to say that this is probably one of the easiest coolant drain and fills that I've done in a long time. It's very easy on this truck. One thing that surprised me is the fact that the lower radiator hose was not stuck to the radiator outlet nozzle, so that was nice. This is far easier than the Tundra and than the Chevy pickup. It just didn't have to lift the vehicle. You can slide right under it. So please, if you're going to do it this way, make sure to look down in your radiator, make sure there's no scale or anything. If you have scale, or if the coolant is like rusted and brown and all that, you're going to have to actually flush it out, which means you will probably need to remove the thermostat and the housing, and you'll need to locate where the two drain plugs are on the side of the block. If you will do this, if you've got a vehicle that the coolant is in good shape, and if you'll do this every couple of years, I would not go the 5 years, 150,000 miles that GM recommends. I usually cut maintenance intervals in half. I would probably do it about every 2.5 years or so, because it's not expensive. If you do the drain and fill like I did, it's going to take pretty much 1 gallon of concentrate and 1 gallon of the distilled water, which is 2 gallons of ready to use. So it's your truck, do what you want, but I like to make things a little easier. If you're going to flush, also, if you're going to use your hose and flush water through the block and all that, you've got to make sure to get that out, because if you don't, your antifreeze is not really going to be at the 50-50 mark. It's going to have more water in it, so you will have to make sure you can drain the block itself. So the way that I did it here, if you cut the intervals in half, that coolant is there's probably 60 to 70% brand new fresh coolant in there, so it's always the level. It's not going to get acidic. That's the main thing with DexCool, is you don't want the coolant to go too far and get acidic, because it will wipe out intake gaskets, it can wipe out head gaskets and things like that from the acidic nature of it. So just cut it in half, do the interval like that, and you'll be just perfectly fine. So hopefully I've inspired you guys and have given you the knowledge to do this job yourself. You don't need to take it to the dealer and do it. Save yourself some money. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.